So, Your Holiness, this was our long dream to bring people to you, like Padma Sambhava. You can see us. So we are very sorry that Paul Ekman got very sick, but he will be calling in and he will say a few words to start the event. So we are praying for his good health. So is he on the phone? Okay. And sir, we also have, go ahead, sir. And we also have people in Auburn. It's a place in California, mountain town. Can you show them Auburn? So it's a mountain town like Dharamsala in California, and they are in a hall waiting for you. I hope you can see them. Okay, so we have Eve and Cliff Saran. Can you? Okay, so Cliff and Eve will receive your blessings from the monks who are here. Please.
Hello.
Cliff, I think he's talking to you.
Hello, Your Holiness. It's so good to see you.
That hello sounded like my dad, actually.
We missed you so much in Botswana, and now I get to see you in California.
Well, I wish I could get to see you also, but I mistakenly ate some food that was spoiled, and I'm suffering today from a bad response to it.
So
my great regret is I don't get to see you actually and be able to talk with you. I hope there'll be another opportunity in the future.
Could you understand what Paul said, Your Holiness?
Yes. Eve, why don't you?
Yes. So he has food poisoning, and so he's acutely ill today, but he wishes that he could see you. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, I hope. Hello.
Okay. Indeed, I feel when I heard this is my dear, respected friend. Due to some food, some illness, very sad. But certainly I pray. Of course, every sort of, or say the sentient being, and every human being, loves one's own life. So certainly, I love my life, and Paul Ekman, my friend, certainly, take care of your life. So please take care fully.
I will. I'm so sorry I can't see you and participate, but I hope there will be another opportunity.
Yes, thank you. So now, this time, we use modern technology, so the physical sort of separation or distance is not much matter. So I really enjoy, this kind of meeting. Then,
yes.
my dear dear Paul Ekman knows about my way of thinking and way of life. You see, I totally dedicated my body, speech, mind to dedicate well-being of other. So with that sort of prayer, that determination, wherever I meet people, I always, you see, share my own experience, how to develop inner peace and self-confidence. Then you can carry your life truthfully, honestly, transparently. That brings friendship. For our survival of one individual, friends are very important. So, therefore, I myself, as a result of practice of altruism, and on the basis, sense of oneness of all sentient beings, particularly all human beings on this planet, now 7 billion human beings. Actually, our brothers, our sisters. So with that belief, that feeling, wherever I go, I always feel, oh, we are same. No one as a sort of stranger. All knows each other. Mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And then more important, everybody say like say peaceful mind. That brings not only peace and mental level, emotional level, but also you see brings healthier body. So these days I describing the training our mind is something like the hygiene of emotion. We need that.
It's a nice way of putting it.
Now I think Paul Ekman, my friend, now at this moment you need more urgent about hygiene of physical. So it's a hygiene of emotion that I feel very, very relevant in today's world. Now, some scientists...
I have a hope.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Certainly, you see...
I have a hope of being able to come and visit you in Dharamsala.
So
that is my aspiration for this next year, is to find a way to be able to travel and visit you.
So, thank you. So, your life...
I hope it will happen.
Your life is something very important regarding promotion of our inner value. Today's world, we not much pay attention about our inner value, only material thing. As a matter of fact, existing education system is very much oriented about material value. I feel that's big sort of the important matter. Mistake. Education, as I mentioned earlier, basic human nature is more compassionate than our daily life. You see, more peaceful mind, you see, your health better. Whole surround becoming something more sort of warmth like that. So therefore, now irrespective whether believer or non-believer, and believe this religion or that religion, that is secondary. Important is we are human being. Human basic nature is more compassionate. then human beings are social animal. One individual human being's life, survival, entirely depend on the rest of the human community. Now today's reality, whole world, something like one human community. So therefore, now we need the sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings, and then respect each other's sort of interest, each other's sort of, what's it, each other respect. So therefore, your life, Paul Ekman, is a very important regarding promotion of these inner value. I'm just one human being. Regarding promotion of these basic human value, we people should work together. Now here, a group of audience people here, you also part of the humanity. You also want happy life. I want to ask you, do you prefer angry face or smiling face?
Smiling face.
Smiling.
So therefore, you see, here with anger, smiling is artificial smile. With distrust or fear, smiling is also the diplomatic smile or sarcastic smile. So genuine smile is out of sort of, what's the compassionate feeling. Consider other as your true brothers, sisters. Then smile come. That's a genuine smile. That brings us some kind of genuine sort of satisfaction, joyfulness, like that. So.
Yes, I completely agree with everything you've said. And what has impressed me recently is that even when we don't act, but observe someone else acting compassionately, it feels good to us. It is good. It feels good to see someone else act in a compassionate fashion.
Thank you.
You agree with that?
Oh yes, of course, of course.
Yes.
I think if you give me permission, after we met first time, then your anger much reduced, isn't it? So you see, we human being, as a human brother sister, you see, share each other the deeper value, feeling. Then the other people also, you see, get some sort of impact, some influence. So that's the way. That's the way promotion of world peace. Peace will not come from sky. I'm Buddhist. My daily prayer, my daily meditation, prayer also there. But regarding world peace, the other's peaceful mind, I quite skeptical just to pray. So we have to do. So for that, now education, knowing, compassionate mind, how much benefit to oneself. Anger brings anger, fear, these go together. So fear, anger actually destroy your own peace of mind, and then constantly experience anger, fear. Actually, our physical immune system reduce. That's now scientific, medical scientists now say that. So therefore, the proper way to promote these deeper human value through education, not through prayer. So everybody.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
Right.
Education
Yes, now
For
education.
children, are you?
Right.
Yes.
Now, existing education system seems not adequate. So now I'm thinking in our education field, so the hygiene of physical included. Now time come, hygiene of emotion should include in our education field. So from kindergarten level, you see, children, we can teach children. Peace of mind is very important. So as a part of hygiene of emotion. So then those people who have belief, theistic religion or non-theistic religion, all in spite of different philosophy, but main message is same, message of love, tolerance, forgiveness, self-discipline. These are all major religious tradition carry same message. Philosophical field, there is big differences. Some say there is creator, some say no creator, rather self-creation. The philosophical field differences, but that is useful. People who have different mental disposition, different sort of way of approach is necessary. So long, goal is same. Try to bring more compassionate human society from the compassionate individual, compassionate family. So, therefore, the all religion, once we look at the real sort of message, real goal, then same. So that's the basis of harmony among the different religious traditions. Different philosophy. Now, for example, I'm Buddhist. I'm student of Nalanda tradition. In Nalanda tradition, there are many different school of thought. Vibhasek, Sodantik, Chittamantra, the Madhyamika, and within these four, each subdivisions there. So the philosophical views within same sort of Buddhist tradition, there are sort of different philosophical views. It's okay. To some people, certain philosophical view is more suitable, more useful. Okay, then practice through that way. Some theistic religion, we all created by God. God like our Father. We 7 billion human beings come from one Father. That's God. So the kind of what kind of Father is infinite love. So we all children of that kind of sort of God, that kind of Father. So firstly, I think once you accept Creator, really very powerful. So all 7 billion human beings are truly brothers, sisters. And our Father, infinite love. So we are children of that kind of Father. So we must be compassionate person if you believe your religion seriously, sincerely. Just carry some rituals, carry some sort of, reading some sort of prayer without thinking, without implement, that religion also become artificial, like that. So therefore, if we realize the basic human value is compassion or love, then all religion carry that. So that's the basis of harmony of all religious tradition. Now it is, I think, very relevant to today's world. Now look, now this very moment, we enjoy peace. But same planet, same human being, thousands killing due to different religious faith in Syria, in Afghanistan, in other sort of many Muslim countries, and like some other country, Christian, Muslim problem. And now Burma, Buddhist, Muslim problem. So this, you see, they very sad. As I mentioned earlier, religions is I think, a source of compassion, source of love. Now that itself, now utilized for division, hatred, is unthinkable. Something like medicine become poison. Very sad. Now we everybody now have the responsibility to create better world. Firstly, more compassionate world, sensible world. Then secondly, all religious harmony, all religions carry the same message. So everybody have the responsibility to create harmony among the different religious traditions. It is possible. Look, India, over 3,000 years, different religious traditions live together. So in this country, so besides homegrown different religious tradition, from Arab, from outside India, all major religious traditions come here, live together. Over 2,000 years, no problem. Occasionally some problem. That is, I usually express due to some narrow-minded politicians. So basically, you see, religious tolerance, harmony, now here in this country. So that's an example. So religious harmony is possible. And I myself also, this is some time back, I was in Australia. Before one public talk, at the public talk, one Christian minister, you see, he very much sort of helping to children, poor children, in I think in Sydney, I think. So when he introduced me, he described me as a good Christian. Then when I start my talk, then I pointed him. I consider you a good Buddhist. So there is a reason. We all, you see, practice same practice. That's love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, and contentment. Many Christian practitioners, monks, nuns, their sort of way of life very simple. That's practice contentment. And then, self-discipline. You see, human problem cannot sort of eliminate by outside force or even rules. I think difficult. Self-discipline with also secular ethics, moral principle, and then self-discipline is the key factor. So that related with believe God, or believe certain sort of one's own sort of different faith. Then with that sort of faith, with that belief, self-discipline. Like Christian believer, you see, we should feel, I should be good children of God. If I do this or that, it's really disgracing our Father, God. So like that, that's my view. And wherever I open my mouth, I always talk these things. Now, do you have some question?
We have some questions for you here.
Yes.
Your Holiness, it's so wonderful to see you again. I know my dad really wanted to be here with us, and you were just speaking to education, and we had your support to create the Atlas of Emotion for adults. And now we are going to start with support from the community, an Atlas of Emotion for children. So I want to ask you specifically, how can we instill the values in children about emotions to maybe not be afraid of them, but to use them towards collaboration, towards, as you were saying, forgiveness and care and compassion? I know there's big differences in the ages of what children can understand when they're very young or when they're maybe 10 or 15 years old. And in your best advice for how we can teach children to really understand this hygiene of emotion, as you put it, so that they can grow up to be compassionate and caring for one another?
Firstly, some occasion, meeting with scientists. You see, one occasion, one picture. Very young, or the infant child, 6 months old, and she show one cartoon, and then in the cartoon, 2 young children with smile, helping each other. And that picture show to that infant child, language not yet developed, of course, 6 months old. So when you see that picture, seen by that infant child smiling, I notice. Oh, so the other person sort of the compassionate attitude brings satisfaction to that infant child. Then same cartoon showing 2 children negative attitude each other. When that picture seen by that infant child also is showing very negative face. Then you see constantly in our daily life, no matter, you see, you surrounded by your best friend and good meal, sort of, also the nice place, but if your mind, some kind of anger, fear, you won't be happy, isn't it?
Yes.
So these are, you see, not necessary to explain on the mysterious level sort of thinking. No, just to date with our life. So we can tell very young child. I often used to ask when I met some students, do you like, as I mentioned before also here, do you like smile face or angry face? Everybody say smile face. So that's true. Even I think dogs, they cannot communicate with us, but the attitude, if we smile them, they are the tail go like that. When you look more negative face, they gradually the tail go like that. So every sort of, we call every sentient being, you see, take care their own sort of existence. For existence, love is the basis of existence. Anger is basis of destruction. So, no need complicated philosophy. Simply our day-to-day life, and also look our surrounding. When we saw 2 birds fighting, we feel uncomfortable. The birds, you see, each other, very sort of pleasant attitude, and we feel these are truly ornament of the environment. When I passing through some, or say the forest, without bird, I feel something missing. Some birds sort of singing, and go like that. Some rabbit come here, come here and there, and you feel something full, like that. So therefore, I think in order to create beautiful world, beautiful planet, part of taking care about the environment, we also have to take care about these different animals, different birds. I think human society is part of that. So therefore, I think we should have some kind of holistic view, including take care about the environment like that. Yes. So therefore, we can teach children not based on philosophical thing, but just day-to-day life. We can tell children according to their own experience. And then I think the subject, the mathematics, these are something different. And then subject compassion, teacher should show genuine sense of concern of children's well-being, their whole life. Then children get the deeper understanding, the value of love, like that. So I usually see telling people, my sort of first teacher of compassion is my mother. I said, my mother always show love, and not only her own children, not only towards her own children, but some other sort of neighbors' children who passing through difficulties. My mother always very much sort of helping them, and whatever our home sort of whatever sort of available bread like that, she always give. So my mother, we never saw our mother's angry face. So I consider my first teacher of love is my mother. So therefore, the teacher who teach children through action, you should introduce the value of compassion, not just word. And more smile.
Yes.
Like that, yes. Then next question.
So, yes, I hear you say that what we need is for children to just pay attention to their emotions and recognize which ones they enjoy feeling. They need to feel connected to the world around them, and they need to see compassion and know it so that they can themselves teach it to others and be present with others. Yes?
Yes, like that.
Very well put, Eve.
Okay. Cliff has a question now.
So before I speak, Paul, do you have something to add? Paul, do you have something to add?
No, I think Eve has summarized it very well. And it is a force built within each of us, this compassionate concern. And it gets, at this point you don't make money from compassion. And so that's not what is encouraged in the corporate part of our lives. That encourages a competition, a view that if the only way I can gain is at your expense, which is just the opposite of a compassionate connection view of humankind, and it's one that is fundamentally dissatisfying. And so I agree with everything that the Dalai Lama said, and I thought Eve did a good summary of it. And what I don't know, and what I would like to know more of, is people who are on a different orientation, whose orientation towards life is I gain at your loss. How do we bring about change in those people? How can we move them towards a more compassionate concern with connection rather than competition?
Oh. Firstly, I further sort of explain the hygiene of physical when we teach, when we educate what kind of virus or things harmful to us, to our physical. And then when some, like Paul Ekman now today, some poisonous something. Similarly, now you see, you have to take the antidote, right, or medicine. So that way to sort of build healthy body. Similarly, healthy because of hygiene of emotion, we should know the whole system of emotion, such as anger, fear. These, how it developed. What is the basis of fear and anger? That's extreme self-centered attitude is the basis of anger, jealousy, fear. So now, antidote of that, compassion, love. So now today's world, including religion, there are differences and different profession, different nationality, different color, different family background. Since we notice a lot of our problem is on the secondary level of differences due to that, my religion, their religion, my nation, their nation. So since human created problem, many, almost all human created problem is on the level of secondary differences. Now only remedy is go to deeper level, then all 7 billion human beings are same. The way born, the way to grown up, all same from our mother. Then mother's milk. At least I think after.
Are you saying there?
Yes, after birth, next I think a few years, you see, survived. Survival entirely depend on others' care, others' affection, particularly mother's affection, mother's care. Without that, we no longer here. So our life survived, our life created, kasota, began with others' love. So then, when we, sooner or later, when we're dying, at that moment, surrounded with more compassionate friend, the dying person feel much happier. So whole our life very much depend on the deeper human value, that's human love. Yes, now next question.
Paul, did you have a follow-up?
Yes.
Well, I'm still everything the Dalai Lama has said I agree with, but what I would want him to address is that in many societies today, the ethos is competition. The ethos is that I must advance my interests regardless of your interests. In its worst form, it is that my interests can only be satisfied if yours are not satisfied. That's the worst form of it. The next to the worst form of it is I satisfy my interests, and it's up to you what you do yourself. So I don't care what you do as long as you don't interfere with me. And that's really a very common view. And how do we change the orientation of people who have that view?
Sense of competition. There are two kinds of competition, sense of competition. One competition, you take care your own sort of right, and you want to be top. And with that feeling, work hard. That's right. And with that, even sort of, for example, some knowledge, you try to become top, and give example to others in order to bring others also same level. That positive sense of competition, and combined with sense of concern of others' sort of well-being. That's right. Then another sense of competition, in order to, you get first to create some problem other. That is negative sense of competition, narrow-minded. So we can make sort of distinction. Like fear, also you see some fear with reason, some fear just mental exaggeration, and loving kindness. Some loving kindness, love biased. That brings hatred, other side. The genuine, unbiased loving kindness brings real inner peace. Now, if you have genuine loving kindness, I think we should test what my attitude towards my enemy, so-called enemy. You still feel genuine sense of concern of their well-being. That compassion is genuine compassion, unbiased compassion. You see, sense of concern, only your own friend sides. That's actually very much mixed with attachment. So that's, again, I think biased and very much sort of related with anger, hatred. Unbiased love is real antidote of hatred and anger. Some sort of,
I'd like to follow up. I'd like to follow up on precisely that point. There's a sense of identity that arises that often is accompanied with a sense of threat to that identity. And much of the conflict within our society, within spots all over the world, between different religions, ethnicities, traditions, seems to arise that independent of the truth of this common humanity, there's a kind of very hard shell of personal identity. And you speak about going through that to a deeper level, but in a very practical way, the kind of social and societal education that would be required for teachers to be motivated to teach compassion to children still requires the adults to transform their attitude toward the nature of their personhood and the world. So can you speak to how, in a sort of straightforward way, you would address what I think all of us wish for, which is to not other each other, but to embrace our differences as well as our common humanity?
Now here,
Question.
any social animal, for their survival, you see, some kind of, you see, sort of taking care each other as a sort of sense of one community. But that kind of sort of sense of care each other very limited. Now we have this special brain. I think the sensorial consciousness or experience, I think other animal much stronger than we human being. Some animal, their sort of senses of smell much powerful than we human being. Particularly my own case, my nose not properly work. This sometimes is helpful when we're passing through some area, a lot of sort of bad smell there, then my nose no problem. So now since you see human brain, I think sensorial, brain which related with sensorial, animal bigger. The intelligence, the brain which usually is to develop intelligence, that part, our brain is much bigger. So now, we human being can do development of infinite love. That also now thinking, we are social animal. Individual human beings' life depend on rest of the community. Now from ancient time, sense of community there. Now today, the new reality is whole world. You see, the Eastern future, Eastern world's East, sort of future of East depend on West. Future of West depend on East. Similarly, North and South. So now today, world, just one community. And on top of that, global warming. Very serious. Now climate condition much changing in United States, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in many places. So it is problem of humanity, not one nation, one continent. Therefore, in global economy, also you see, no national boundary. Everything, you see, interdependent. Therefore, that's a new reality. Now today, our sense of community should extend. Entire humanity is our community. So we are part of that 7 billion human beings community. So if community, 7 billion human being, happy, whole world happy, peaceful, you also get maximum benefit. So now that's the new reality. Ancient time, even village to village, more or less sort of self-sufficient. So the realistically speaking, is it not relevant to take care about the next neighbor. Now today, your future depends on your neighbor. Your nation's future depends on other nation. That's now new reality. Then global warming, everybody, you see, take care about the global warming. No national boundary, religious boundary, like that. So therefore, I think according to today's reality, now we really need sense of global responsibility. Very, very necessary. Yes? Next question?
That's good.
Interdependent is being forced upon us, whether we wanted it or not. In times past, you could ignore the interdependence of the world and get away with it, depending where you were geographically. But now the problems we face, like global warming, force us to recognize that we are interdependent, that the fate of all of us is connected. And that's a good thing.
So now we will have question from the audience. We are taking you to Auburn. Is it to Auburn? And is the phone line working for Auburn? Okay. Yes, so we have a young girl, she's a student, and she has a question to you about social media that is really making it very hard for America at this time, Facebook, Twitter. So she has a question about that.
And who's she addressing the question to?
His Holiness, and you can chime in.
Thank you.
Okay. Oops. I have to tell them, sorry.
Please stand.
Modern technology has a limit.
You can just talk to the mic too.
Okay, but her phone is only number 2 is showing on this display. Ben? Okay.
Your mic was off when you were talking about what was happening, and then your mic came on, so they may not have heard you say.
No. What I'm saying is that their phone line is showing as crossed. That's why I wanted to confirm.
They have to unmute. They're on the call. You just have to tell them to turn on their microphone and talk.
Okay. Turn on the microphone.
Unmute.
Unmute.
Auburn, we are
Yes.
waiting.
We're making His Holiness wait.
Is there a question here?
So can we hear?
Hello, Your Holiness. Do you feel that social media and technologies have taken away from the meaningful relationships that we've had simply because we can post a post and not meet up for coffee and take the time out of our day to meet with a friend? Do you feel that social media has taken away or had a positive or negative effect on society?
I feel these technology created by human being. So we are the actually controller of this technology. We should not be slave of this technology. So sometimes you see people say, artificial intelligence or something. I do not believe that. So every program put by human being, and then it work. I think the technology material, I think no ability to think itself. Then I think emotion is part of our mind. I think technology, in a way, quite neutral, no emotion. So maybe better. So our brain eventually, not this kind of brain, but everything is a plant brain material because of the mechanic. Then maybe peaceful world may achieve. So therefore, I feel we still the superior than also the technology. So technology should be disposal of human being. We human being become more compassionate mind, more wider perspective, much less we and they. Then technology can be useful for positive way, not making weapon, including nuclear weapon. All these are emotion, too much sort of sense of we and they, and then no hesitation to destroy other. Then you see, create through technology these awful weapon. So all finally, ultimately created from here. Human intelligence, marvelous human intelligence combined with human hatred. Then all these destructive things you see happen. So now how to sort of face this problem is firstly change here. Instead of anger, fear, more compassionate. Then with that, utilize human intelligence more wisdom way, more proper way. In ancient time, maybe destroy your neighbor is your victory. Now today's world, destroy your neighbor is actually destroy your own sort of, what's the one source of economy or happiness. We are now one human community. So thinking that line, the concept of war is outdated. And now time come, we should start some effort, reduce making weapon, step by step. Firstly, like nuclear weapon, our world should free nuclear weapon. Then offensive weapon. Go like that. So the weapon is actually killing human being and also wasting a lot of our money and also harmful for environment. Therefore, now I think we should not repeat 20th century's experience. 20th century, wonderful century, we developed a lot of the technology and highly developed science or these things, wonderful. But unfortunately, 20th century become century of violence. First World War, Second World War, Korean War, Vietnam War, like that. So according to some historian, around 200 millions of people killed through violence in 20th century. Now that century, I think because of that, and that century utilize weapon, and whenever we find some differences, different views, different interests, we always think how to solve that by force. So that way of thinking still, at the beginning of the 21st century, still that kind of sort of thinking still there. So the reality much change. The way to deal, you see, these problems, we, in our mind, still the old thinking, how to solve that by force. That outdated. So therefore, I usually use it describing this 21st century should be century of dialogue. Whenever we find some differences, through human way to solve that problem, try to achieve mutually agreeable solution, sort of thing. That's the human way. Human problem we created by human emotion. Then the way to solve that problem, we rely on weapon. Wrong. Since this problem, our emotion created, now the effective, long-lasting solution is talk with so-called your enemy. Talk and try to find mutually equitable solution. So through that way, this 21st century will be century of peace, peaceful century. So we should not repeat the 20th century's the event should not happen. So this is everybody's sort of responsibility. Okay.
Your Holiness, we have one question from San Francisco. Breen. She's a scientist, and okay. So she's getting your blessings through this geshe.
Hello, Your Holiness. So in a recent talk on global compassion, you said that in order to develop the proper sense of concern or compassion, first we need to practice detachment. In order to train genuine compassion, you must practice detachment, so long as sense of concern for others' well-being is mixed with attachment, then it always becomes biased. My question is, when we are overcome with a strong mental affliction, how do we work in that moment on cultivating a sense of detachment?
I think you should know, as I already mentioned, the biased love, unbiased love, biased compassion, unbiased compassion. Because detachment. Detachment means should not keep biased compassion. Detach. Unbiased compassion, we must develop, we must grow. So, unbiased compassion is concerned, not detachment. I think we, the practitioner of Nalanda tradition, we describe entire sentient being is our mother sentient being. So our attachment, not only mother of this life, but entire sentient being, our dearest mother. So you should not mix detachment and what field, what sort of ground detachment, practice of detachment.
An honor to speak to you. My name is Ron Valadez. I am a Lutheran pastor here in Auburn, California. Lutheran Christian, Sunday morning worship, to our faith, the rest of our lives.
You can interrupt.
Sunday morning worship.
Mr. Pastor, can you repeat your question? There was
cause us to become more regard of our religion.
Wait.
Can you repeat your question for His Holiness?
In Auburn, we did not hear you because it was talking over His Holiness's response. Can you hear us?
What question?
I am. Yeah.
Please repeat the
question. Without knowing question, how to answer?
We're working on it.
Can we ask questions here while we get the technology doing?
Okay.
Yes.
Shira, where is Shira? Okay, please, hurry up.
It is to speak to you. A Lutheran here in Auburn, California. For Lutheran Christians, Sunday morning worship is central to our faith. the rest of our lives should flow from our worship. So my question for you is, how can our worship practices, our spiritual practices, regardless of religion, cause us to become more compassionate people? Thank you.
Yes. According to the spiritual, the system, worship means we totally admire, the God like Jesus Christ or Buddha and some other Allah like that. You totally admire. Their sort of thinking or their behavior. Then, in order to express that, then in the form of worship. So worship means you admire, the object which you worship. So that indicates you also, since you admire, their good quality, so you should be follower or copy of their, their example. So therefore, worship to believer, that's very good, very important. Some kind of admiration, like Buddha, admiration of Jesus Christ, admiration of Allah or Muhammad. That encourages you also willing to follow their example. So that's very good. So then, as I already mentioned, all these major different religious traditions inspire different philosophical views, but all carry same message of love. I usually describe all these major religious traditions of human religion. So basic human value is compassion. So therefore, every human religion, emphasis or main message is love. Okay.
So one last question from Shira. She's a psychologist. So she is getting blessing on your behalf. So introduce yourself.
Hi, okay, over here. Hi, Your Holiness. My name is. Hi, I'm very honored to be able to ask you this question. I'm a psychologist and I work with veterans of war. And one of the things that I study is moral injury. And so in war, what happens sometimes, as you discussed earlier, is that sometimes people do things in war where they cross a boundary and transgress their own morals and values. Sometimes they're asked to do those things. And so what my question to you is, how can we help people heal from some of those emotional wounds of the war when they have to do things that they didn't want to do in war, that they're continue to be distressed by?
Yes. As I already mentioned, I think it's a certain sort of our problem, which develop which is certain causes. So now it is not sort of sufficient just to complain the result of that sort of negative causes. So now time comes, we have to work, reduce the causes of this violence, including war. I feel war is outdated. And also, you see, another sort of reason, if you look human history, war come during feudal system. One king or leader, and including religious leader, his or her own sort of glories or something, and use thousands of human life. That is feudal system. Now today, we are in the spirit of democracy. Each country ruled by the people, not individual few people. So now look, democratic country, sometimes totalitarian, democratic sort of period. Some people become very powerful, one individual. So we usually call totalitarian system. And then give order, go fight. I think this is the old way of thinking. So now, in the reality, through violence, you cannot solve any problem. If you use violence, the counter-violence, that violence always creates negative emotion. A weapon cannot remove the ill feeling. The weapon can control, can destroy physical, not emotion. So one person killed, then his or her relative, or generations keep some kind of that negative feeling. So therefore, the using weapon is outdated. There's old way of thinking, old way of practice. Now we are 21st century. We human being, journalists, I think I have some confidence. Even same 20th century, early part of 20th century, later part of 20th century, human beings thinking much change. One example, I always is telling, France and Germany, in the past, enemy. Second World War, also you see very, very negative each other. But then later part of 20th century, mainly I think Germany and the French led the European Union. So these, in early part of 20th century, European Union, such things are impossible. But later part of 20th century, now through centuries, as arch enemy. But then they think common goal. So create as a union of European Union. I am one of the admirer of spirit of European Union. So these are indications. Then I think when Iraq crisis about to happen, how many millions of people express they are against, you see, violence or war. So I think now everywhere people, peace is now become a part of our sort of tongue. Peace, peace, peace. So peace through inner peace, real peace can achieve. Full of hatred, full of sort of anger, peace impossible to achieve. So therefore, now today, I think world, I think much better, I feel. So therefore, the weapon, now, the weapon, you see, cannot solve, cannot build peace. Okay. Correct. Oh, so now, yes, you see people or army people who involved already in violence and kill some other people, some uncomfortable feeling naturally. And then that already sort of cause already there, and action already they done. So difficult. Although because of the shakwa. I think the best way, I think provide them loving kindness as much as you can. These soldier, war hero, also human being, deep inside, they also appreciated love. You see, some cases, you see, we notice the soldier, the enemy soldier, when dying, the soldier from this side is approach, helping. So, although you see the two groups as enemy killing each other, but still the human feeling still there. So, the enemy soldier dying or wounded, this side soldier helping them. So therefore, I think we should, we should show them your kindness, and also you see your sort of sadness about their sort of what happened on them, like that. Otherwise, already you see cause already sort of then there, and then result automatically come. Then very difficult. The only thing is we have to deal the causes. That's my feeling.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for your time. And Dr. Ekman has been after me for 8 years to have this event. So he never forgets anything, and we had this event. We hope that you like it so that we could have more such events so that you can stay at home and we can interact with you from America, because we need these messages a lot right now. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
You see, he came to India difficult. So similarly, me too, go to United States difficult. So now time come, we have to utilize this technology. Right? So I always, I always ready, you see, to talk through mission. Although we cannot touch each other, but we can see, we can feel. You see, because each one sort of the smiling face and seriousness. Although you see quite small number, but no one sleeping. See, so everybody, you see, showing genuine interest or keen attention. So I very much appreciate. I'm ready to this kind of practice from time to time. I'm ready to do. Thank you. Then I always consider I'm one of the 7 billion human beings. So from that viewpoint, I also one of you. So share each other is our duty. I never consider I'm something very special. I never consider I'm Dalai Lama. I simply consider I'm a human being. So whatever way, you see, sharing each other's experience is my duty, my goal. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, bless your team. It was your dawn.
Thank you.
Can I say a final word, as Paul Ekman? Wonderful to be able to listen to the Dalai Lama, and it's been a wonderful discussion. And I want to just express my heartfelt thanks to Ravi Verma for all the work he's done to make this happen and go so smoothly. So thank you very much for enabling us.
Thank you. And I'm very encouraged. Your daughter, Marve, your daughter continuously, you see, carry, you see, the spirit of, your spirit.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's the way. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. I appreciate. Thank you.
A wonderful, wonderful person.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Go ahead.